Hi guys, this is Anjali here. In this tutorial, I am going to teach you about form validation. So why form validation is required? Proper validation of form data is important to protect your form from hackers and spammers. So that's why form validation is required. So first, let's start with an HTML syntax and define HTML form. So this is our HTML syntax. Our title is form validation in PHP. I'm using same as a heading in body section. Now let's define our form. So form method post, then our first field is first name, input type text, name equals to first name, using br tag here for spacing. Second field is last name, input type again text, name equals to last name, copying this br tag. Third field is email, input type text. You can take email as an input type also. Name equals to email, br tag, then website, input type again text, name equals to website, br tag, comment, here I am using text area, name equals to comment, rows equals to 5 and calls equals to 40. Here rows and calls specifies the height and width of text area. Br tag, then next is gender, input type here is radio, name gender, and female. Next input is input type radio, name gender, and male. Now br tag, then creating button to submit the form, submit, name equals to submit, and value is also equal to submit. Now let's check how our form looks like. So localhost, my folder name is tutorial here, then PHP and form validation in PHP. So this is how our form looks like. Now let's start validating it. So I am writing PHP tag here. Now first we need to define an error variable and set its value empty. So our first field error is first name error, then second field is last name error, then third is an email error, then gender error, and then website error. Now let's define an actual variable. First we need to set its value empty. Now let's define an actual variable. So $first name, then $last name, then $email, then $website, then $comment, then dollar gender and set its value empty. Now if request method is post, so for that dollar underscore server square bracket double quote request underscore method is equal to double quote post. Now first we need to define one function, so let's define function taste underscore input variable is data. Now taste input function here check the all below condition to protect our form. So first condition is $data equals to trim $data. Now what it will do? Strip unnecessary characters like extra space, a tab and new line from the user input data. Now next condition is $data strip slashes $data. These will remove backslashes from the user input data. Now next is $data HTML special characters $data. What HTML special character function do? If user adds some hacking script, this would not be executed because it would be saved as HTML accepted code and then return $data. Now we need to define form action, also HTML special characters. For that PHP echo HTML special characters and here $_PHP $_server square bracket double quote PHP_self. The PHP self sends the submitted form data to the page itself instead of jumping to a different page. This way, the user will get error messages on the same page as the form. The HTML special character function converts special characters to the HTML entities. This means that it will replace HTML characters to prevent attackers from exploiting the code by injecting HTML or JavaScript code in the forms. So let's start validating. Now here, first is if our input is empty. So if for the first field empty $_post square bracket double quote first name, then print error $first name error equals to first name is required. So now let's check. So for that we need to give an value in our field. So value equals to PHP then echo first name. Now we need to print an error if it comes, then PHP echo $first name error. So now let's check. Refreshing our form, keeping first name empty, you can see that error says that first name is required. Now let's do same for other fields. Just copying, instead of first name writing last name, and instead of first name error writing last name error. Then email is also required field. So if empty $_post square bracket double quote email, then $email error equals to email is required. Now next is, here website is an optional field. So if website is empty, then if $post website, then instead of error $website and keep it blank. Same for comment, because comment is also an optional field. So here comment, and instead of website you can write comment. Now gender is a required field. So if $_post square bracket double quote gender, then $gender $gender error equals to gender is required. Now let's check keeping all the fields empty. So let's take a look at output. We need to print our values here. So for that, value PHP echo $last name, and also need to print an error. So instead of first name we need to do last name. And then also here value PHP echo $email and PHP echo $email error. Then here PHP echo $gender error. Now how to set gender value? So for that, PHP if is set $gender or gender $gender equals to female, remove this, echo checked, and value will be female. Same condition applies for male input. So instead of female, writing male, and value is equal to male. Now value for website, instead of email, write website, and to print its error, instead of email error, write website error. The value of comment will be printed here, and instead of website I am writing comment here. So now let's check. Keeping all field blank, you can see that first name is required, last name is required, and email is required. So these are the validations we performed. Here is one error: undefined index gender on line number 36. Oops, we need to write empty, and that the variable we need to print this. So now let's check. Keeping blank, you can see that first name is required, last name is required, email is required, and gender is required. Error occurs when we keep input blank. So now next is we need to write else part of all the field to validate perfectly. So in this else part, else if before that dollar first name is some input, so for that is equal to paste input round bracket dollar underscore post square bracket first name. Now check if name only contains letters and white space. So for that, if exclamatory mark preg match function search a string for the pattern, returning the true if the pattern exists and the false otherwise. So pattern for name is, here I am using default pattern of PHP. So backslash, then this square bracket, small a to z, capital A to z. Then for closing this pattern, so this is a pattern and the subject is our field name, which is first name. So if this condition is true, then print first name error equals to only letters and white space allowed. So let's check it. Refreshing my page, I am here writing ABC5, which is not only containing letters and the white space. So let's submit. You can see that it print an error that only letters and white space is allowed. So next to validate our other field, For the last name, we need to write same as first name. So I am just copying this code, pasting here. Instead of first name, I am doing last name. So let's check. Again writing. Here I am writing right input. Then instead of last name, writing wrong input. So you can see in the first name there is no error. In the last name only letters and white space is allowed. This is an error. So now let's validate an email field. Now first is else, then $email equals to taste input round bracket $_post square bracket double quote email. Now check if email address is well formed or not. So if exclamatory mark filter underscore where, the easiest and safest way to check whether an email address is well formed is to use PHP filter where function. It's a predefined PHP function. So our variable is email, then filter underscore validate underscore email. So if this condition is true, then $email error equals to invalid email format. Let's check. Anjali, and instead of email I am also writing Anjali. So you can see that it's print an invalid email format, because in email we need to write anjali@xyz.com. This is an actual email format. So once I submit with this format, then error's gone. Now our next field is website field. Now let's write else part of website field. So for that, else $website equals to taste underscore input round bracket $_post square bracket double quote website. Now if our input is invalid website URL, so for that, if again using preg match function, and here I am using the default pattern for website. I already copied that. Select this, copying again and pasting here, and our subject is $website. Now if this condition is true, then $website error is equal to invalid URL. Now let's check. Let's write something wrong. ABC. You can see that it's print that invalid URL. Now let's correct it. www.anjali.com, submitting. This is a right input for the website field. So this is for website. Now in the else part of comment, $comment is equal to taste underscore input round bracket $_post comment. Now we don't need to validate comment field, and also we don't need to validate gender field. So writing same as comment that $gender is equal to taste underscore input $_post square bracket double quote gender. So this is our form validation. Now let's give some style to make it more attractive. So for that I am using style tag in head section. Style, defining a class dot error and giving a color which is red. So it will print an error in red color. So for that, first what we'll do, here writing that span class, span tag using error class here and writing asterisk, which means required field. Now let's print error in a red color. So for that we need to write span class here, span class error and also giving asterisk here. Same for all the error. So just copying this, paste here, also here, also here, and also here. So now let's take a look at output. You can see it comes in a red color. Now let's check that error comes in a red or not. So submitting this form empty, you can see that our error comes in a red color. Now let's print an input. PHP tag echo, giving a heading user input. First is our first field, which is first name, then br tag for spacing, then echo $last name, again br tag, then echo $email, br tag, echo $website, then br tag, echo $comment, then br tag and $gender and br tag. So let's take a look at output. Refreshing page, filling fields ABC, ABC, ABC at xyz.com, www.xyz.com, writing xyz in comment, selecting gender as a female. So you can see that all input comes in this area. So that's all for form validation. Thank you for watching this video.